Hey there, Sunday, 8/29, 10 the February 2019. So I'm gonna experiment here and just kind of let this go and not worry about it being in 10-minute increments that on my end nobody watches anyways, at least my appearance. Um, Sun is up. Got one of these kind of cool things here. And so there are remote neural monitoring audiences that know how to crunch some data that had been watching sort of my presence for a long time. Uh, I'd get pretty bored with this shit, maybe. I don't know. Watching the reality television show for Satanism that the world really is. And speaking to two different groups at the same time using tricks from Shakespeare. Oh, they can like press a button and like make me nauseous, and that's happening right now. But that's part of the free will that's destroyed. Oh, geez, I really feel sick. And what they've done to the human condition. So this thing here has been biohacked for 15 years. My chakra down here by my belly basically stopped working in a lot of ways 15 years ago, 2004. Graduate dorm by the old bread factory. Now it's the Nike Boys Arena, at least by appearance. I should have named that after Frohnmeyer. I don't even know what the fuck you guys are thinking half the time. Snap out of it. Hate you. So much sin here. Yeah, so I've been made a torture twig spine for Satanism for 15 years covertly, and they disguise it as mental illness. And like, it's bizarre to me at this point, all the efforts to cover their asses. I mean, in the other room, I was taught by my aunt, who's a targeted individual too, about baby monitors and radio signals jamming some of the tech or whatever, making it harder so that they to get a signature on my body, so they can torture me with cell phones and shit like that, satellite terrorism, all that stuff. But like in this other room over here, I have a radio, and they're hacking into the radio, and like I can hear them talking, and it's probably just an effort to get me to change my behavior to turn off the monitor, so it's easier for them to get my signal. Like, it doesn't even make sense part of the time. I just got an email from a guy he's a TI, but spent the money on the hamster wheel to hire like private investigators and shit, and he just dropped some info on frequency abuse in Southern California that he investigated sort of independently. The world needs to be destroyed. This is futile. Even the resistance of it. I hate everybody, and that's great because it'll help me get out of here. You guys haven't been torture trained with mind control for 15 years. And then when they try to manipulate love in that moment of death, I'm going to be like, no, I don't think you understand impulse either. I mean, I've been enduring in trials in my meat suit what Wes talks about, basically, what you may encounter, like a fleet of 150,000 AI humans around your dead body moment. Like, hey, why don't you stay with us? We like you so much. No, we're here to just torture you more. Help to harm solar system wide. And I just feel like I can say, like, is mildly well-educated understatement. I have this sneaking, horrible feeling that we've all done this before, or at least I have. And not just history repeating, but like the Earth really should be destroyed and the moon. We should vacate. No blank checks. Heavy T, who was on Twitter, or no, he did the YouTube. He had a wife, and they body snatched her, or like did something with the wife and replaced his wife with a shapeshifter. And he was like, even with higher resolution and stuff, like analyzing her eye and you couldn't see it, or otherwise it makes sense with your human eyeball from the um, transcription errors of the YouTube video. But he was pretty convinced, even had speculative evidence about like the woman he was living with was no longer the woman that he married. He went by the nickname Heavy T. So all of a sudden his shit's down from YouTube. It's not even there. Just massive trauma. And then he had a kid too that he was worried about. Nice house, nice stuff. I mean, I feel like it's sort of hamster wheel or otherwise wasted time with these people like trying to collect evidence for this. Like, the world needs to be destroyed. And if the U.S. Air Force doesn't do it, and they just let this prolong the suffering for the next 10,000 years, like, they deserve punishments beyond eternity, punishments to last outside of the rules of the cosmos. And I'm going to see what I can do to maybe study a little bit more of Wes and what he thinks he knows. But finding a civilization with a device that can, instead of enduring this shit anymore for any more lifetimes, just have a device that's like, the non-reincarnation device. And his speculative research, true, founded somewhere in between lie, I don't totally know anymore, is that shit exists. That's the greatest device ever made, if it's true. And that's what I want more than world destruction. But yeah, the Earth should be destroyed. Pretty convinced of that after 15 years of this nonsense. Disagree? I don't give a fuck what you think. I've been tortured for 15 years in the name of Satanism. Just being real with you. Oh, and I guess there's some fruit bag that's like dancing around the headlines at the Oregonian for a 4-star, not even a 5-star wide receiver that's like thinking about going to the U of O. I think the world should be destroyed flat out within the next like 10, 15 years. It probably won't happen. A lot of people speculate on when the world will end. I've given out some pretty advanced planning on how you could do it. And I think it should be done. U.S. Air Force, if they have a sky castle, so to say, they should end the moon and the earth and then goo it, salt the fields, and then I've speculated, like, what would it be like if we just liquidated the capital of fucktardedness? Like, similarly, how an ant colony would survive a flood. They would become a little island and just sort of float through the flood. True lie, or somewhere in between, that the analogy of swimming through space has been thrown at me. That may be kind of how it is. I don't know. But I want my own non-reincarnation more than I want Earth and the moon destroyed. But I don't think my mind will ever change about that. Not after these 15 years. No, they abuse life. They don't deserve it. Who's really running this place? They sure don't want to show their face. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so this sort of you see of me now here, there are even AI and shit like that has been pretty intently torturing me and then enjoying the snuff film glorified over 15 years of the secret spy groups on me and an estimated 1.5 million Americans out of, I don't even give a fuck. I care more about those 1.5 million than every other American. You're pretty worthless, actually. Can't even read. Am I being mean? I don't care. Like, I really think, like, I'm staring out the window at this, fusion device that we all orbit around. It's the center of the man. 40 years. And June 5th, I will be waste of time. What the fuck was I? How did I even incarnate here? Like, I hate you so much. I want to kill the earth, and I won't get it. No, I'm gonna, like I've had training under mind control for 15 years of like enduring consciousnesses that have like access to like my spinal column and everything it's connected to. I'll have a better chance than most of getting out of the solar system, but the way that it works, they wouldn't even collect the data right on people that actually escaped. And there would be a lot of incentive of the Satanism systems to like not tell you the truth about people that like get way past the rings of Saturn. I hate you. Every person. It's what happens like you render a person for 15 years. John McCain doesn't have shit on me. And they blocked my website so he wouldn't even know to evacuate. And he was actually a POW too. It's still blocked. I can't even get it to like, couldn't connect with search engines. And there's like a meth head paid $35 an hour to make sure that that website never connects with Google. I mean, Joogle. The other white meat. You guys getting ready to die? Not a fucking tear. No longer young. So some highlights of maybe the last 15 years of a secret community college lecture series that will never be taught because we don't teach MPA shit to community college graduates. You got to go to university. Yeah, drawing a blank. But this world is completely worthless. They've destroyed the human condition. You're all better off evacuating. Like, it's an embarrassment. You're the deliverance of the Milky Way. And most of you don't have any frames of reference to know just how horrible bad it is. What a pretty prison this really is. You haven't even been through hell yet. Losers. Worldwide, I hate all of you so much. I want to kill the earth and the moon. And I'm not in the Air Force's, shiny white castle you can't find. White womb. Where you could do something like detonate the moon, most of the earth, and then goo it. It'd be nice to be able to do something like that within about 15 minutes. Earth time. Isn't it, though? Yeah, so much lie. The lie that helps sort of bind this reality together in a lot of ways. People don't understand the sin involved in just incarnating here at all, period. Even before getting nanoed, chipped, all these fucking bullshit stories. If you're on the perp and torturing people, like, let me just make it simple for stupid people who are really dumb. If you're torturing people in this life, they should turn off the existence and make sure you get tortured beyond time. And that's the point. Even if they got to take all the puffy clouds away, I've already seen this movie. 15 years. There's a time in these torture escapades where they're just watching it on secret surveillance, enjoying all of my pain. I was like hearing nuclear sirens come out of psych wards that I had spent some time with. May everybody in the organ psych community, more or less besides Dr. Farley, like more or less rot in hell. Like the real one. Not this satanic doublespeak of like the perps walking around in consciousnesses that aren't, really their bodies torturing TI. They call that hell. See, and then they don't bother to explain the Satanism. It's all Satanism. Solar system wide for allowing any of this shit. Lake of fire, body and mind, you are looking at one. 15 years. For nothing. I don't get fucking paid. Like, they range in satanic repeaters. That was it. Forced Freudian slip shit. Satanic repeaters. It's not a mantra. It's designed to make you like want to die and shit like that. But I'm legally disabled. I'm on SSI. It's an insult, even, ways to get by. Trying to get it by on SSI is like the lowest of the lowest rung. I'm in a nut house because EMF perping destroyed my life 15 years ago, and I just try to cobble it along anyways as a disabled TI. You deserve to be destroyed. You should be like, Earth, Moon, a bag of cats that you really need to drown. Can't hurt them. But instead, I will probably, within 30, 40 years, is called midlife crisis. So they really, they've been trying to kill me like for 15 years, like every day, slow kill. But, they're sort of bragging about it. Since 2013, they really were intently trying to kill me. And they're busy trying to cover their ass, which is just like bizarre to me at this point. Just, I don't know if you can hear from the speakers from the hacked computer they're, perping me from too. The whole spinal column. Everything about me has been used and abused by Satan. State-sponsored. For 15 years, this body will be 40 rotations around a local timekeeper old June 5th of this godforsaken year, because it's not God. They invented Satanism instead. They even misused Jesus' image on your way to memory wipes to the moon. Nothing's holy to them. Bush was my JPEG on the eyeball antichrist for this, but it's sort of unfolding anyways. Even if they try to cover his ass before he dies. What the fuck is he trying to cling to? He was in the news recently, or not the news, but off his Twitter account. Nobody fucking follows because he's a politician nobody cares about. Checkmate. Saying people really need to say what they mean. I was speculating if he had gotten psyoped, somebody had gotten to him, talking at him. My antichrist for this. And I'm no Christ because you're not saved. There's 1.5 million people. I care more about them not being tortured than I care about the earth and the moon. Literally. And the rest of you are pretty much garbage. Yeah. So I think more or less we all came through those black Swiss cheese holes at some point in some way, shape, or form. That's where I didn't go back out. I've had some years of torture experience, enduring some of the stuff that I'd probably encounter on my way out when I'd lose my body. And I feel like I got a better shot than most to getting the hell out of here. Squirrel's been lifting weights. Where's the jam? Where's the jam? Chew chow. I'm not going to stay for the chew chow either. This is great though. So this is 5-6 months now. I haven't shaved it. I think I'm going to let it grow out. Get the Western Wizard wear. Wizards of the Coast. Oh, and they're using black magic tech shit on me. I'm not casting any fucking spells. Spells aren't real. Tech looks just really magical when it's new. And all these tricks and shit. There's no such thing as magic. Probably the universe. It's just all very much explainable if you know how to talk the language. Learn what you hate or love. I don't know if I have a lot of real solid advice for. Wes has probably got better advice for people getting out of their moments of death or their bardo. From a lot of consciousnesses way outside looking in. And don't expect any entity or force to be coming screaming at them black Swiss cheese holes to fucking save you. Words to never use around me. God, you break the 10 Commandments every time you use that goddamn word. Save, there's no such thing as saves. You just get memory wipes at the moon and then you're reincarnated. Jesus, don't ever use that word around me. You can use Buddha, who was a man, not a god. He never claimed to be a son of God. He never claimed he was direct conversation with the Father. I guess I don't even know what all that shit means. Few words to mislead from 2019 years ago. Redmond was quite a canned shit show. I hope that local population's all right. How's Seaside? How's Tualatin? I'm in Hillsboro now. Yeah. What happened to Heavy T's videos? I wonder what kind of, like, literally alien subtly doesn't seem like it's even there or interacting with the earth, anything. I wonder what kind of alien computing power secretly invades, like, the website that is YouTube. I mean, not even like earth restricted or 3 dimensions and 5 senses, as like most meat suits understand. It's bad. Reminds me in this moment of a speculative researcher experience I had looking at some conspiracy theory stuff, and it was talking about nanotech that they found in like 1980 something, and it was like alien, and it was like literally like a black goo or something, and killed the scientist that was examining and like jumped into, escaped through the satellite system somehow in some obscure location lab, like maybe even in the Pacific. And that was like 20 years ago or some shit. And you don't know what to believe in any of that shit. And then if you have, like, I had domestic psyop alien experiences. They weren't foreign. They were domestic hostile. Toids and other allies of the Satanists. I'm just a spinal column toothpick. The twiggering. The twiggering. For 8 billion plus other nouns with nervous systems. Yeah, I don't really usually give a shit about football or anything like that. I'm usually got my head in other clouds. But I really think like it's world death. And they still won't do it, and like then memory wipe you. And then some of the sensory experiences I've had is that, you know, if you wake up born 5,000 years in the future getting reincarnated, and you have, you know, computer on the eyeball forced from birth, and then, you know, satanic repeaters and suggesters, and you don't know any different, and there's nobody in institutional memory to be like, did you know you're in hell? How would that fit into any plan for a Palestinian man from 2019 years ago? Or Bush, if he knew all of what was going on? Or do you think I would want my last 15 years for any of you? I mean, there's some perpetrators that are torturing now that if like a holy 180, like if you had like carte blanche power outside of like the like people that are and entities, aliens, everything that is like torturing the human condition right now on Earth, like in a perfect scenario, like turn off everything and then they get tortured, but then you never stop torturing them. Take all the puffy clouds away, and then they're just at the end of a pointy black spike forever. And that's the point. And I feel that way too. Bloody Gina's head should be on a spike. She's a gangster witch. Fucking. And then when people say stuff like you're awake or wake up and stuff, I mean, like, I'm so tired of the few words to mislead. Oh, okay, Portland, Oregon, and all you other people, whatever you think fucking really happened over these last 3 years, like the few word misleaders would call that a felony. I am like a deep state target among other criteria for the shit show that this is. Like, I can't watch television, but now that I know like television watches me and all this other stuff, like because I'm a disobedient slave or whatever, got my plans to leave the solar system. Like, it's hard, and I don't watch it, but it's hard to ignore. Like, for everybody else that's just always watched television and maybe nothing perceivably has even changed for them, they were always worshiping Satan on their televisions, and now it's on their cell phones and the computer thing. And like for me is like sort of outside looking at this world differently. Like, they were always worshiping Satan. It just looked like Jesus or the pastor in the Midwest, or the deception in this world is so fucked up. It's like pretty much, yeah, Satan replaced the top of the Ten Commandments a long time ago, and it pretends to be Jesus for simple people who are dumb. Just trying to explain it to you. And then, like, I've storyboarded on Instagram a lot of what's happened in some ways. So 1.5 million estimated out of Blackwater being tortured of Americans, and then like 5 million torturing them covertly with things like EMF gang stalking. And then like the 230, 40, 50 million other Americans, like, like whatever, not really impacted by this covert war. Those 5 million need to die. I care about more because they're so special. I care more about the 1.5 million that ended up being targeted by the beast system than I actually care about the other 8 billion in a lot of ways. I really think the world should end. They won't do it though. And then they'll just memory wipe you at the moon, and then you wake up, born 5,000 years in the future, and you're a spinal column twig. It's the twig ring toothpick for Satanism too. You just are born into it and you didn't know it. And then it's like everybody on earth. Dystopian. I hate you so much I want to kill you. I love you so much I want to kill you. Does it even matter at this point? And I won't be able to do it myself. And I don't even know if this white room was just in my head in these 15 years of very intense torture. But that's how I would, in some of the theoretical, speculative experience, it would have to be sort of independent of the reality of any of this. And then moon, earth, and then goo it. And I'm like, oh, what are you waiting for? Then again, I didn't create this place, so. Got any better ideas? And then they don't know what they're missing outside of the black Swiss cheese holes, like what that's like. But I'm pretty sure we all more or less came through there at some point. And so how do I get out of here? I'm so riddled with Dano and don't trust anything. And I like at some point in these last 3 years had moments of death frights, like what, from Howard Circle? That in that swath of humanity, that equivalent, and that's who thinks they're God. For those 1.5 million qualitatively and quantitatively, all of the perps rotating on them throughout the day, like, here's another reason to end the world. There's like a story about schizophrenia in Utah, and this woman, she was convinced she was getting raped or having sex with the Archangel Gabriel. And she told the elders in the Mormon community in Utah about it, and all that they could, the elder community, and all they could come up with is stop talking about that, or we'll take away your kids. And this was like on an interview at like OBB, and so that really wasn't the Archangel Gabriel. That's like all the human swath from Howard Circle. They just found an attractive woman in Utah that they decided they wanted to spend every waking moment torturing and raping. And then on her end, perceiving it, she thinks it's an Archangel Gabriel, and could be a black kid from Howard Circle, Kevin Christian's neighborhood, just transferring his consciousness to this entity that is electromagnetic, forming his demon dick into this precious thing, God's creature. And I don't even believe in God. It's an oxymoron in a way, if I'm even using that term correctly. That's on my blacklist in the world. And so that happened to me like 5 years ago, and I've been raped ever since. Like my body was sold on the internet for sex, similar to what happened to Kevin Christian. So, for all I really know, it could have been 50,000 homosexuals that logged into a website over the last 5 years so that they could have the sensation of their demon dick inside my body, and then like watching it, and in secret spy groups like disseminating that long drawn out snuff film for their enjoyment. He never acted swishy, but I actually ironically had a dear friend at college who was a faggot. I don't even talk to him anymore. They were like, before I knew people were getting replaced around me by EMF gang stalkers, these consciousnesses that aren't the real people, like the insult compliments even came out of his form in Portland a couple years ago. Every time they utter the word, they're breaking the 10 Commandments. But I've been accused of a few words to mislead them because I'm not. God reference. I'm not, though. But I have NPA plans to end the world. If there's not a white room, they should have made one. And that's the point. So they should stop the Satanism they want. And I really don't care about like 8 billion of you. It's like you wouldn't understand how healthy that is for me getting out of the solar system. And then sensations of love, like overwhelming love, I've already experienced that and can deprogram continuing for the next 40 years before I'm literally going to dynamite my head to make sure that like all these sense organs and not taking any chances are destroyed before I meet my Bardo. Buddhist safety measures. I'll try to make sure it's like filmed and shit. I've got a location. I've given out some coordinates to, sort of planning my own death. Buddhist holy ground around my childhood home. It's not exactly lighting myself on fire to protest the Vietnam War, but that's in the next 40 years. You'll know where to find me. I've been there a few times. The people that they're foreigners that occupy the grounds, like never come out and visit with the locals. But for many decades of my life, I was like just up the road. Oh, it's a nice area of Lake Oswego. But there was always the Teddy Ruxpin mansion on the hill if you were keeping up with the Joneses. So this is 35 minutes. I'll cut it off. But you got to understand that, like, as this is going on, and you get this on the delay, like by appearance, nobody watches it. The next day, like instantaneously, all of it's being comprehended. It has been overtly for 15 years at the same time of being tortured. You're better off dead. And that's the truth as I know it. Midlife crisis. See if I can make it to 80, but I'm dynamiting my head. I'm not taking any chances. And I had death rights at some point. What, from Howard Circle? They never stopped lying. And what is the EMF perpetrator devil, the god of the Mormon, because he's on the radio? I'm jamming with a baby monitor. He's the one being the baby. Oh, and I hope like there's just massive cop suicides because they have no place to go. Welcome to the year of the pig. Wonder what's in store. Fucking morons.